In this tutorial, I'm going to show you how to add a full page graphic to the very start of our Cell Shock video. That's your first shot. I'm sure you've already got that laid down. But I have to put a title in at the beginning, and it's going to be a full page. It's going to cover the entire screen. And it's going to be made of two different elements. One, a background image, and two, text over top of it. Just like a title page would be in any kind of other project you might have that you create. Okay, so what's the first thing? Well, let's go look at our assignment page. Okay, and under titles right here, what do we need? Well, during the actual playing of the video, we need three titles. These titles appear as the video is playing. The opening title just before the start of the video, this one, number one. Okay, so you'll see this will be the first thing you see. And then two, after the extreme close-up of Mr. Elsey looking at his phone, we have something called OMG or something. If you want to change the letters, you can. Oh my God, he's panicking. Something to give a sense of panic. That's after he looks at his phone the first time and he looks shocked. Okay, and then the final one that plays during the video is where he comes outside the doors and he goes, "I've got it." After he says it on screen, "I've got it." We don't hear it, and then we cut to the title where he says, "I've got it." Now this one has to be exactly this because otherwise it won't make sense. Okay, the OMG you can change to something else. Even the title, if you want to call it something else, if you've got a creative name, you can change that, but don't change "I've got it." The credits here, these are just going to be titles at the very end of the video after the video is played, and I'd like you to build each of these credits as a separate page. So Cell Shock comes up by itself, then your name as the editor comes up, and then page, page, page. So it's total of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And they're very simple to make. You can just put them over black if you'd like. Okay, so that's what we need. So let's work on number one, the opening title. It's a full page. It's going to cover the entire screen. So let's see how we do it. Well, the first thing we need is some kind of a background image. I could go to Google and get something like cell phones or something if I chose to. But does that make sense in the context of the video? Why don't we do this? Why don't we just go to Cell Shock, our edited project, and why don't we go find a frame that makes sense as an opening title? I'm just going to pick something random here. I'm going to pick just quickly. I'm going to just pick a fairly random frame, freeze frame. There we go. I'll pick this one. Okay, is that the one I'd actually pick? Actually, no, it wouldn't be. But I'm just, I don't want to steal what you guys and girls might want to use. So I'm going to use this image as my background for my opening title. It's going to say Cell Shock. So the first thing I've got to do is get this out of the project by capturing that frame. So I'm going to go File, Export Video, no, Export Frame is what I want to do. Okay. And I'm going to make sure I know where I'm putting it. Now my Google Chrome's already been set up, so it's putting it where all my media is for this project. And I'm going to call it Cell Shock Opening Title. Okay, like so. And it's in the right folder where I want it, where all my video clips would be, and I'm going to save it. So I've now saved this frame of video. So let's go and check and see if we can find that. So opening title, this is it right here. So this one I'm going to delete because I already did this once. So I'm going to open this one, and there it is. There's the frame. It's a little bit blurry and stuff because he's in motion. It's called motion blur. Okay, but I'll use that. You want to pick something better. Okay, so I know where it is. Let's go now to Photo P, which is where we're going to actually create our title. We're going to go File, New. We're going to say Snyder, Cell Shock. I've already got the title here. Opening title. Okay, that's the name of this graphic I'm making. Going to make sure we pick screen, Full HD, 1920 by 1080. Make sure that these are set correctly. and 72 dpi. That's more for printing. We're going to pick a white background in this case because there is not going to be any transparency information. His image is going to cover the whole screen. So white's good. Click create. And there we go. Command minus to zoom out a bit. There we go. So now I've got to go get that background image. First thing, file, open in place. Let's go find it. There it is there. Mine was already set up to find it because I put it in a download location and I've already been to this folder. So there it is. There's the image right from CellShock. Okay. Now notice that that image fits this screen perfectly because CellShock's resolution is 1920 by 1080 and this canvas is 1920 by 1080. So they fit perfectly. I don't have to scale anything. Okay, first thing is, let's see, we got to do what? What are we going to call this? Let's go again to the assignment page. Oh yeah, we're going to put in the title of the actual video called CellShock. Now if you want to rename it something else, you can. Okay, so I'm no longer in Shotcut. I'm working now in Photopea. And I'm going to add the title CellShock. So over here, there's my, right here is my background image. Now I'm going to go to my text tool and I'm going to type in the title. I'm going to put it in quotes. Make sure you spell it correctly. CellShock. Now that just happens to be a font that I had selected. Okay, good. Now I can move it around. Now does it make sense for it to be where it is on his face? Not really, right? You'd never put it over his eyes and things. So where can we put it? Over here? Well, now the frame looks a little unbalanced, right? So here's what we're going to do. Before we place this, let's put some guides in. 50 pixels from the edges. 50 pixels or close to it. It doesn't have to be exact. And then 1920 minus 50 is 1870. So we'll place it there. And what we're doing is creating an area called Safe Title. And I'll explain that in a second. 1080 minus 30 is 1030-ish. There we go, close enough. I've created what's called Safe Title. Okay, 50 pixels, 50 pixels, 50 pixels. You must keep any text information on any graphic within an area called Safe Title. Now in this particular case, because we're working in Photopea, it doesn't have a safe titling, at least not an easy one to find. So what I've done is created my own. And I've said, I think I'm safe if I keep all text elements inside of these guides. Okay. Again, I could put it up. If I was going to put it up here, I'd need a guide at the top. I'm not going to put it up there because visually it's distracting, right? From a hierarchy standpoint, I don't want to see the title taken away from his image. I want it to sort of be second. If I put it here where his eyes are, that's kind of distracting. I don't want to put it over here because to me, everything's unbalanced. Look at how unbalanced that frame is. Everything's sort of favoring this side. And then where else? Okay, I could put it center here. Dead center is dead boring. I'm going to choose to put mine somewhere in here. So all text elements in this case, including the quotes, need to stay inside of this 50 by 50 by 50, what I've created as a safe title. Okay, so I could go with this and I could export this as a JPEG. However, it's looking a little bit plain. So you could, we talked about it in class the other day about adding an image if you wanted to. In this case, what I'm going to do is I'm going to at least add a shape. So I'm going to go to Shape Tool. And I'm just going to click and drag a shape. Any size for now. Okay. Now, that shape's way too big. So I'm going to go to the Shape. I'm going to go to the Move Tool. And with shapes, you can actually grab the middles because you're not distorting a shape. I'm going to say, you know what? I want the shape to run off the page, in my case, all the way off to the left and down at the bottom. Okay, so if I turn off my transform controls and get off of that layer, it would look like this. You say, okay, but it's outside those boundaries. Well, that's because we're not reading a shape. Shapes can run off the page, text cannot. Also, you notice that the shape right now is on top of the text. So we just got to go over to our layers, drag the shape and put it underneath the text. Now let's go to the text layer and let's go to our move tool and let's position it. Okay, now I think that shape is too long in this case. I don't need all this dead space. I could put a picture in here if that's what you wanted to do. That'd be kind of like a little extra special thing. Okay, what about the color and the size of the shape? Well, if I don't like that the shape is so big because I'm not putting anything else in, I can go and just trim that back. Try not to go dead center. Okay, and I might say, oh, my text is too big. Go to my text tool again, and I can drag it down. It's got to be big enough to stand out though. And now I can make my shape a little bit smaller on the ends. So don't copy what I'm doing. You know, you guys and girls have lots of creativity on your own. What about the color? Why did I pick this color? Well, if you look at the shape, and it's inspired by Castlebrook's colors. Okay, it's not matching exactly, doesn't have to. If I did want to match it, I would go to my fill. I'd go to the solid fill. You could put a gradient in there, but you know, you're going to get a little fancy and it may not work. So I'm going to go off my color picker, select that color, and I think it's too blue for my liking. So Control Z. I like it like that. And I'm going to say, there you go. There's my title page. Now I can say, oh, I like it to be a little higher maybe. Okay, it's a little bit too low. So I'm going to move the shape and the text together. In my layers, I'm going to select both shape and text. I'm going to go to my move tool, and I'm just going to move them both up a little bit. Like so. And I think now the shape is too tall. So maybe I won't run off the page. Click off of them. There we go. Go to the shape and say, okay, well, maybe I won't run off the page with the bottom of my shape. Maybe I'll bring it up here somewhere. And then I've got to center. I think I should center the text inside of this shape. So I'd go to my text, and then I could just drag it down like so and get it so it's fairly centered. Doesn't have to be perfect. I'd say, okay, that's it. Command H to hide my guides. That's going to be my opening title. Now, if I wanted another font, I'd select my text, and I'd go and pick some other kind of wacky font, whatever. Make sure it's readable, legible, okay? Don't pick something as crazy as this, right? Doesn't fit. Command Z. Or something really fancy like this. Doesn't really work. You can't even read that, right? So that's why fonts matter. I think that's plain, but it kind of has a little bit of life to the font, so I'm going to pick that one. So I'm going to say that's my opening page graphic. Yours is going to be more exciting than mine. Oh, one thing I could do, if I go to the shape, I'd say that looks a little heavy to me. Why don't I go to my shape layer and bring down the opacity of just the shape so I can see through it a bit. So what's that, about 80%? Something like that. And now it doesn't look as heavy. Just the shape. I adjusted opacity, not the text. Okay, I like that. I'm going to go File. Export now. You're going to export as a JPEG because there is no transparency information anywhere in here other than my shape, which is not really part of the whole image. So there we go. That's what it's going to look like. I'm just zooming out in my preview window here. Okay. JPEG. I'm going to save it. 100% quality. It should have saved it in that folder. I'm going to right click, show in Finder. In my case, and there it is. There. Cell Shock Pursuit video. Good. So I know where it is. And hey, just brought me right here to Shotcut. So again, this title page is going at the very start, before the opening shot. So what I'm going to do, and this is the same for WeVideo, I'm just going to zoom out now. Let's say that this is a completely edited video, which it's not. I'm going to select the first clip. Okay, so I just click on it, the first clip, It's red. Hold shift and click on the last clip. Everything now, including the audio, make sure you command or control. If you've got audio down below for some reason, audio is not going to matter in this case. So we can actually get rid of it because we're not using the audio. But if for some reason you have something maybe on another track, you got to move everything together. Say you had let me just go here for a second. Let's say for some reason you had a video up here on a second video track. You've got to make sure you select everything. Okay, so I don't need the audio, I won't select it, but command and select that. Now everything in red is selected. Now I can just move it down. Okay, the audio, as I said, we're not going to use. So I'm going to just select all those and delete them from my timeline. That's where I'm going to put my music. And now I've got a space where I can actually put the opening title. And then I'm going to close up my gap. Okay, so what do? I'm going to go to Open File. I'm going to go to, there it is. It's a JPEG that I have. So let me go to the folder. The JPEG should be there. Right there. That should be it. There it is. You see it? It adds it to the preview window. You just got to click, drag across, and add it to your media bin here. Okay, so there it is. It's a JPEG. You see I've got my shape. I've got the transparency of the shape. Because it's not the page that's transparent. It's just an element on the page, which I don't need to be a PNG for. I'm going to click that, drag it down. Okay, make sure you don't lay it over top of any pieces of video. There's a gap here. I can either go to that gap and hit X. Oops, X actually took it out. So the easiest way is just drag it over. Make sure your magnet's on. Now I've got this gap, right? So there's my opening title, full page. Okay, and now I've got this gap. So I'm going to click on the gap and I'm going to right click it and I'm going to remove it. X is the shortcut. And everything snaps over together. Oops, Command Z. It didn't actually. I forgot about this. So I'm going to do it manually. I'm going to go Shift, just the same way I moved at the beginning. Command or Control if you have something up above. If you don't have anything on Video Track 2, you won't have to worry about this step. But now with my magnet on, my snap tool, okay, I'm going to move everything all at once. Here we go. I'm going to close that gap. It'll snap to that opening title. And there you go. I've placed it in place. So 1, 2, 3. And by default, this particular clip is 4 seconds long. Okay, if I go to its properties, it's 4 seconds. 4 seconds, no frames. Okay, this is under Properties. I right click to get there, or you can select the clip and go to Properties. I'm going to close that now. Now I say, okay, well, that's kind of boring the way it's coming on. It's just cutting on. So let's add a fade in to this title. So how do I do that? Select the title, go up to my filters, and I'm going to add a filter. We've done this. Oh, there's fade in. It's already a favorite of mine. I'm going to fade in video. Okay, there, it's a 1 second fade. I want it to be faster. I'm going to pick a half-second video fade. So I'm going to do 15 frames, which is half a second. Okay, and now I'm just going to play it. There we go. 2, 3, I have 4 seconds long enough. And then it cuts to the first clip. Okay, probably appropriate. You're not going to use any dissolves.
And look to your left.
So just get it started. There you go. I'm going to mute the audio on my whole project here, up here as well, if I did have a clip up here. Audio is not being used. We're going to add music. So let's take it back. Like so. Fades in. Title. Starts. Okay, and you'll have music that fades in at this point too. So we did music already, but let's just go look where we've got some audio only. Do we have any? No, so let me go get some. I'm going to open file, which is actually importing. I'm going to go to where I have some music on my project. Let me find it here because I've moved things around a bit. Right here. There's my music. I've added it. Okay. It puts it in the preview window. I don't know why it does that. It seems silly to me, but I have to drag it over to add it to my bin. It's an MP3. Okay. And I'm going to drag it down underneath all my video. Okay. Command Z. See what I did? I forgot to select it first, so it put actually a picture down there. So I have to select it, drag it. I always forget that in Shotcut. It's the only program that I've seen do that. Okay, there's my music now. Now you notice how long my music is? It's way too long. Now I'm not going to cut the end yet because I'm going to still have some titles at the end, so I need the music to last as long as the titles and then fade out. Okay, but let's go to the start. Let's go to the start. Okay, I don't need a fade into the music at the start because the nature of that music is it's like a cold start. It starts right away. So I've got to fade into the video. I've added my music. Okay, and that's my first title. And then it plays. Okay, and then where you're going to put your other shots, so your other titles, is after this shot. You're going to put the "Oh my God." Okay, and then when he's outside, he does this. I got it. He says, "I got it." Okay. After he says, "I got it," so you're gonna actually split this. I got it. Before he runs out, I got it. Okay. And then I'm going to split that clip. Okay. And then I'm going to move everything down a bit to make room for a new title. Again, this is going to be a full page title. So I'm going to just, for now, I'm just going to put, I'll put a lower third in there that we have from before. I'll put it in there. So let's pretend that that says, I got it. I got it. Doesn't have to be too long. I'm going to trim that. And then I have to bring everything back. So we come out of the title to Mr. Elsie in the same spot. Okay. But then he runs away. So watch how this plays. I got it. I've got it. And he runs. So that's where you put that one. Okay, so that's two of our titles. Let's go to our assignment sheet. Okay, that's three. I showed you where we're going to do the "Oh my God." Okay, and then the "I've got it." So those are the three titles that play during the actual video. Okay, so the "Oh my God" one will be somewhere in here. It's before he runs away. You'll go, "Oh my God!" Just a full page. Okay. And then he runs away again. He's always running away after titles. Okay, so that's how you do the three titles in the video itself. Again, it's all about making room for them, right? Because you've already edited. So you got to click, select the last clip, the entire last clip, move everything down, make a space to put the title in once you've imported it. Drop it in. Make sure it's the length you need it to be. Don't make it too long. I've got it. And I could probably, that's not a bad length if it said I've got it. Make sure it's up long enough to read. Then you're going to close that gap by selecting the first clip, the last clip, everything selected. Close the gap, snap it up here. My snap tool doesn't want to work this morning because why would it? Okay, and let me snap up to, there we go. Now it's snapped up tight. So there's no black in between. You're not fading to black and fading out of black on titles. It's just cutting to the titles. Okay, so that's how you do titling for full page at the start of the project. You can make yours more exciting than mine. That's kind of like a level 2-ish. You're going to put a title in again after his reaction before he runs away. Great reaction by those teachers. So after this shot, "Oh my God!" And then after he comes out, he goes, "I've got it." That's where you're going to put those three titles. And then at the end of the project, after the entire video is played, you're then going to give me your version of credits. Okay, so you give me credits here. And then at the end, you're going to, let's say the credits go this far. Let me put a couple of credits down here that aren't really credits, just titles. Okay, so I'm going to have, I think it's 4 pages of credits. Let me see. Credits are name of the video, your name as the editor. That's 2, 3, 4, 5 different titles at the end. They can all be very simple. So there's my 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different credits. The information's on the assignment page. And at the end, I've got to trim the music. S to split the music. Delete it. Okay, then select the music. I want to do a fade out now. Fade out of my music track and a fade out of my video. So let's do the video first. Select the last credit. Go to your filters. Add a filter. We want to fade video out. And if you can't remember where it is, just type in fade. Okay, and you'll get audio and video fades in and outs. We want to fade out in this case, video only. There it is there, it fades out. It's by default a 1 second fade. Let's make it a 20 frame fade in this case. A little bit slower. Okay, and you can see at the end here, if you zoom in, oops. Hey, if you do command plus, command minus, it does the track height. Just learned that. Let's blow it up. Okay, let's zoom in. There, you can see the fade is there. This is the last clip with the music. And you can see it's 20 frame. Watch, if I make it a 1 second, 1, 0, 0, 1 second, no frames, it's a much longer fade, right? So I actually made it a 4 second for some reason. So let me make it a 1 second. There. Okay, so that's a 1 second fade. I wanted a 20 frame. 20 frames. There you go. It's a little bit shorter now. Now I'm going to go to the music. I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to add a filter. This time it's going to be an audio filter, fade out audio. There, I want it to be the same length as the visuals. So I'm going to go and change it to a 20 second frame up here. Fade out. Okay, and now they will fade together. Okay, so that's how you do it. Again, you pick your own spots as to not where you want to grab that full page background for the opening title. Try to have some fun with it. Be a bit creative. You guys and girls are creative. Okay. 3 titles during the video. It's on the assignment sheet. And then 5 credits at the end. That's what I'm looking for. And that'll be part of the rubric.